Let me cook with this top 5 dribbling techniques to beat opponents in the EAFC 24. First up, we have left stick dribbling and the technique of making the defender commit to then exploit space subsequently afterwards. You'd be going with the left stick and you essentially dribble your attacker towards the defender and he starts to approach you. You then want to turn back to the opposite direction of where you were originally going to ensure your back is facing towards the approaching defender. From there, you want to rotate diagonally back and forwards to where the player is facing so that you can make the defender commit. Now, sometimes it can take longer for the defender to commit depending on how good the opponent is you're versing. If he's a good defender, it may take quite a while to make him commit. But when it comes to lower caliber players, sometimes it may just take one feint before you can actually create the space necessary to beat the approaching defender. But you need to just bear in mind that when you are doing this technique, you always need to have your back turned to the approaching defender and you need to feint him away by chopping the left stick. We then have R1 dribbling. Now the beauty about this year is it's essentially a sprint dribble technique minus the large touch. That's why I love it, because sprinting by itself, it's very bad because you're more susceptible to having the ball tackled off you when there is a defender near you because of how large the touch is. But when it comes to R1 dribbling, it's almost as though it's a regular left stick dribbling technique, but it's a lot quicker. It's almost like Messi when he dribbles at opponents. But what I will say is, if you're wanting to beat opponents with this year, I find the rollaway technique works. The rollaway technique entails you approaching a defender, and as he comes towards you, then rolling away slightly with the left stick to ensure that you are always keeping the ball tight into you and at least a little bit away from the approaching defender. And because of how tight the attacker will keep the ball into his feet when using R1 dribbling, when you do the roll away, it's almost impossible for the opponent to actually get a tackle in. And there's a few reasons for this. Number one, it's because R1 dribbling is very effective this year and it's very hard to tackle off the opponent at any time because of how tight the ball is kept into the attacker. But the second reason is because of how bad jockeying is this year. Your opponent can't really react quick enough to actually adjust his defender to get the tackle in once you do the rollaway technique. So that is the beauty about it, is it's super effective for beating opponents, especially when you can roll away, keep your back slightly to him, and then continue on into the space that you've created. We then have the L1 stop technique, and I believe I was the first one to bring this to the YouTube community back in the day in FIFA 22 as a dribbling technique. People just think the L1 stop technique is a good technique to stop or perform a skill move subsequently afterwards, and although that may be the case, it can also be used as a dribbling technique. And the reason why it's effective is because you can use the defender's momentum to your advantage. You see, a lot of the time the defender will use his momentum to try and read you and go a certain side to try and adapt his jockey and get the tackle in. But as he goes to read you and goes to essentially jockey in a certain direction, you can use L1 to make him continue on going that direction whilst you stop still on the spot. Then you can exploit the space that has been left open from the defender once he's committed to that certain side. So you can go in, tap L1, and then you can make the defender commit to a certain side as he's using his momentum to try and read you. It's very good when you're, let's say, on the side of the 18-yard box and you're looking to cut inside. The defender is attempting to read you. You can tap L1. He will then go past you with the momentum and you can then essentially exploit the space that's been left open. We then have this sprint agile technique. What this entails is you utilizing the R2 button as you're sprinting, and each and individual touch you're taking, you can tap L1 and point the left stick to an acute angle, or at least a very sharp angle to where you want to face next. Why this is so effective for beating opponents is because you can cut inside very quickly with this. You might be on the wing, you're sprinting, you can tap L1 to turn in. It's also very useful when you get yourself into the bots and you're sprinting. If you wanted to turn into an acute angle to get a shot off and get past that defender, tap L1 as he takes a touch on the ball. And from there, you will be able to beat the opponent. The R2 burst technique. Now, I don't encourage sprinting all that much, but there are times when you are, let's say, dribbling, and you're using various techniques that I've just taught you in this tutorial, and you can actually tap R2 to then burst into the space that has been left open when you do these techniques. And I'm putting this in as the final segment. It's a bonus segment, and that is the R2 burst technique. If there's any spaces or gaps, minor spaces or gaps that you look as though it will be good to exploit, then once you've made that defender commit, I want you to tap R2 to burst into that space. So you can use left stick dribbling and R2 to your advantage to burst into pockets of space to beat opponents in EAFC 24. It's quite effective as long as you don't abuse it, and it's very, very good for exploiting space this year. So there you have it. There is 5 simple dribbling techniques on how to beat opponents this year in EAFC 24. Now, I am coaching one-on-one, so you can check that out. The link to it is down below. There's monthly coaching classes. You can work one-on-one with me. There's even a lobby where you can request personalized tutorials from your boy. So go and check that out. But yeah, I'm out. Sayonara, au revoir, adios, salam, ciao, goodbye. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, then I'd really appreciate it if you hit the subscribe button. And lastly, if you do want any pre-gaming fuel or supplement, then head over to atpscience.com, which is the first link in the description, and use the code DylanEtsATP at checkout to get yourself a discount. Not only is it the cheapest way to get supplements, but it helps me out a ton, guys, so thank you.